pressed down together and rolling over. You should give a good thought to the happiness about the issues that are, happening in the country at the moment, how we can be a part of it, how we feel about it. We exchange these thoughts and we just keep ourselves abreast and support each other best we can. Not doing the show alone, of course, and not just with you. We're doing it, of course, with our Defolaring or Lamilekon, in-house analyst and public of VOP 96.1 FM and public political economist. I don't know why I'm always tempted to calling you Folaring. I don't know why I'm always tempted to calling you a public affairs analyst.
This is the legal word we use for analyst, so but specifically political economist. But when you talk about the general aspect of most of us that speak on TV, radio, call us
public affairs analysts. I think that just makes a lot of sense, don't you? I want to start off the show today by asking you 3 questions. It's usually one. You know the first one. How much water have you had today?
Before we start this program, you saw me rush down to go and have a refreshment. I've taken water. Earlier before now, then I took water. So I've been on water. I think since the morning I woke up, I've been on water. And it's quite interesting to be on water.
Of course, it's very healthy. It keeps our bodies going. And I like to say Nigerians, not just Nigerians, the human we only have one body. We don't have another one. We can't, you can't go manufacture another. It's not like a car that you go and you get another. No. This is the only body that we have, and it's our responsibility to care for that body as much as we can. And one of the easiest things, one of the most effective drugs that you can give your body is water. Exactly. So drink water. Don't stop. Keep it going. Another thing you should keep going is you following Voice of the People on YouTube. It is Voice of the People Abuja. You should definitely subscribe to our channel. Second question I have for you. How vigilant have you been today? Have you paid attention to your environment?
I do, as suspected, but may not be perfect, may not be 100%, but at least I pay attention to my steps, my movement, my entering vehicle, my coming out of vehicle, where I'm standing. Majorly, I'm always conscious of where I'm standing. You take my mind back to what happened in Abuja 2014-2013 period. The period of bomb blasts, and something normally come over me, and I said, what about the bandits just entered major street and begin to shoot? So
God, I beg.
So
I'm
always very conscious.
Don't be
of
thinking
that.
those things.
No. It's one of the consciousness that we have to put on, because bandits and kidnappers are not just waiting on the highway. They could also strike within population area. So we should not rule that out. So that is my level.
Well, that's true. That's very true. Something very funny happened to me this afternoon. I was trying to board a taxi to go somewhere very close to where I live, and I stopped. The first taxi I saw was a private-looking car. It's not a car that you would see regularly doing, the along pickup. I was going to get into it till I noticed that it was tinted at the back. The speed I used to step back, the person sitting in front just started laughing. I think they all got it. I didn't end up getting into the taxi. I didn't want to risk it, but I think it just goes to show you have to be careful. You have to pay attention to your immediate environment. All right, the third question: do you know the Nigerian pledge?
I do.
Of heart.
Of art, I do. If you talk about the first stanza, but the second stanza.
No, the pledge, not the anthem. The pledge of allegiance.
To Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my heart, with all my.
His strength. You see. Are they following? Are you seeing? These are the issues.
No, maybe you are putting pressure on me. That's why.
These are the issues.
The issue is a prayer. So most times when we get to that point, most of us either recite it using personal statement or personal word.
Well, I'm guessing that is what the President of the Federation, our father, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, is trying to avoid, because he has said that he dropped a new directive that from now on we are reciting the national pledge right after the national anthem at every gig and every public event. It is about showing some serious love for Nigerians. So The president wants us to respect our country's symbols and values, and he's saying stay loyal, keep the unity. He's going to keep the unity vibe strong, and it was basically a pep talk for patriotism, reminding us to stay committed and proud of our identity. Let's listen to the words of our president. I never shy away from listening to his voice, whenever we have the chance.
To Nigerians, let's talk to ourselves. I see everything positive about our country. Yes, there's a trip of air conditioning system here. Okay, we were born in the heat, we stay it. It's our country. Don't be spoiled. Don't think of your country negatively. Before I left home this morning, I asked for the pledge. A print out of it, and we have to relaunch it. Relaunch it to be committed to the value, the greatness, the hope of our country. It is our country. You pledge to Nigeria, your country, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all your strength. You saw it on the field of play yesterday. You are all rejoicing. Every one of us love victory. We love to win. When you are positive and you are hopeful, Nigeria is winning. We didn't say it will be Eldorado, smooth all the way through, but we are confident that this country will excel in all ramifications that is. Very hopeful that it is our turn for the trophy.
And he said "Awalokon." That was what he said to end it. Quite a very inspiring speech right there. Very motivational, But again, the people have questions. Yes, Nigerians are patriotic. We saw it, like he said, like the president said, we saw it on the pitch. We saw it. Some people were so patriotic, we even lost them. That's how into it, we saw Nigerians be. So, this is the president saying that we need people to be more patriotic. Do you think that is what will build patriotism in Nigerians, in the heart of Nigerians? Reciting the pledge.
I think the message is this: if you look at the wordings of the pledge, they are powerful words. They are very strategic words that have the consciousness of bringing you out into positivism. But the issue remains that when the populace are positive about their countries, they are showing more positivism about their country. What about the leaders? Because the challenge has always been that the leaders are not doing the right thing. The leaders are saying one thing with their mouth, but with their hands and legs, they are doing something else. The wordings of the pledge are quite, for me, they are strong words that you just have to take them as it is. But when you want to take them as it is and apply them as supposed to be, you meet a brick wall. How do you meet a brick wall? The same leaders that are saying, do this, I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to stand with all my strength to serve and do this. Ask them, are they serving with all their strength? Are they loyal? Are they respectful to the Nigerian people in terms of what kind of policy they are bringing on? Because it all begins with the policy and it ends with policy. And that policy means that whenever you are dishing out, you are also ready to obey and follow to the latter. But here in Nigeria, when the government release a particular policy, once it becomes a challenge to the elite status quo, they have to fight it, and that's why we have problem. So for me, it's not about the pledge per se, but the end product of the pledge is that when you say a thing, you follow it through, and when it applies to everybody, everybody have to fall in line. But when they apply to everybody and there is a challenge behind that application, then some people begin to cut corners. That's when we have a challenge, and that's where we have a big problem in our society. For example, you talk about the issue about why Naira is falling. Naira is falling not because the government doesn't know what to do. The government knows what to do, but because if they apply what they're supposed to do, it will affect certain businesses and Nigeria will be at loss. How would Nigeria be at loss when you apply it? Not Nigeria as a whole, certain individual will lost out in the game of the business they are doing. For instance, I just heard that the CBN is about to auction treasury bills, meaning that because Nigerians have borrowed money at a particular level, we need to pay back those money. Treasury bills will be sold. And treasury bills means that more percentage will pay to people who are going to buy the treasury bills. So we are going to pay for the percentage. It is individuals like me and you, poor Nigerians, that are going to pay. And money meant for development purpose will be diverted to those aspects. So what I'm trying to point out, if we don't borrow, if we don't mismanage our fund, if we put all our fund in the right perspective of development, nobody will be selling treasury bills to raise money to pay debt or to pay other proclivity of loans that government have collected. But because we have mismanaged every resource in the country, that's why we have found ourselves in the level that we are today. And again, we must also appreciate the president for speaking this line of positive into the mind of Nigerians, because as I see him as an elder statesman that has nothing to lose. He is not chasing after riches, he's not chasing after any wealth. As his age, I don't think we'll be thinking of how to make more billions of naira, because as he is now, he can't claim to live above 100 years. That is the fact. He can't live above 100 years. Even God will keep him up to 100. He will even pray that he should go when he gets to that 100 level, because a lot of people don't want to live above 90 years.
Long.
So what I'm trying to point out, he has nothing to lose, but he has every right to make sure that any legacy he wants to leave behind, a legacy that Nigerians can look up to him, that after he has gone, they can say, when President Tinubu was alive, this is what we benefit from his presidency. The poor will gain their integrity from not just being poor, but they have something to lay on hands on, to survive on, but not on something to continue to deepen them into poverty.
Thank you very much, by the way. When we speak about patriotism in the country, and everybody is saying, look at Nigerians, how they supported the Super Eagles. I would say, take your minds back to the group stage when AFCON started. Nigerians were not really as interested as they are now.
Exactly.
And the only reason I would say Nigerians have become this supportive is because they have seen that the Super Eagles are not letting them down.
Exactly.
They are following through. So, in as much as the president is calling for, patriotism and all of that, I feel it's very important and very, very important for the president and the government in its entirety. You'd think that we owe it to these people to keep their hope alive. You cannot keep over and over and over again disappointing people and expecting that they're going to keep their faith in you and faith in the country. We could go on and talk about the military and all of that, how the military used to be so celebrated, but then it was abused at a certain level, and nobody celebrating the military like we used to back in the day and stuff like that. And before we move on to the next story, I'm going to quickly say I'm of the opinion that if the president is saying the general populace should focus on the pledge allegiance to the country, maybe the leadership of the country should pay attention to the second stanza of the national anthem.
For me,
that is going to hold us very, very accountable.
Definitely, but both are very important. Where the first one make you to be so positive about your nation, the other one expect you to give accountability on what you have been asked to do, or what you have been commanded or commissioned to have charge over. So both of them are very important, but we must also ensure that as we want to hold on to the pledge, it means that we want to be faithful to the end. We want to that luxury life of being in government, that just like what he was pointing out, that okay, you are that conference all the way, the AC is very chill, everybody is feeling cool, but the heat is also there. So if the heat is there, the cool aspect also is there. So at the point of cool heat, what are we talking about our nation? What are we doing? This point to the fact that at the point of whereby government official, minister, commissioner, DG and the rest of them are having the luxury of ensuring that something work better for the people, what are they doing? Is it when they are now out of the office, they now become antagonists of the people who have taken over their own position? Because that's what I see in Nigeria these days. The moment you are out of government, you begin to antagonize the other people that have taken over your seat or what your position.
We're going to go to that. In fact, it's going to lead us to our next story. So the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, addressed pressing national issues, including, the economy and security concerns. And, he said quite a lot. He held a World Press Conference in Abuja just yesterday evening. And he acknowledged the challenges being faced by Nigerians, went ahead to assure them of the intensified efforts of the representatives to protect the interests of the people. Let's take a listen.
As representative of the Nigerian people, we can pay lip service to the plight of the same individuals who elected us into office to protect their interests. It is our resolve to see that Nigerians, wherever they are, live their normal lives in peace and relative ease. We are acutely aware of the rising security challenges affecting different parts of the country. As elected representatives, we acknowledge the pain and suffering of every family that has been a victim of brutal crimes and needless violence. Let it be known that your cries have not fallen on deaf ears, and your tears have not gone unforeseen. We stand in solidarity with every Nigerian affected and commit to deploy robust legislative measures to empower our security agencies, ensure justice, and restore peace and order in our communities.
On the current hardship and skyrocketing prices.
All right, and that's basically the Tajuddin Abbas right there telling us, what is up with the the Senate, the House of Representatives, looking out for Nigerians. But of course, he also spoke towards cyberbullying and, bringing back the act, intensifying efforts to make sure that people stay in place. We're going to discuss that in a bit.
There has been a rise in defamation campaigns on social media involving the deliberate dissemination of false and misleading with the intent to harm the reputation of individuals or organizations. These campaigns often target political opponents, seeking to undermine their credibility, integrity, and public trust. The recent unjustified and baseless allegations against the Chief of Staff to the President, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, point to the danger of an unfettered and unaccountable social media. Such acts not only undermine the integrity of our democracy, but also erode the
And he brought up a lot of points about how people are criticizing the government and not necessarily in the most polite ways. Now, let's talk about the entirety of the press release. I think at the beginning it will seem as though, okay, this is just to encourage the Nigerians. Let's encourage Nigerians. Let's encourage the people of the country to know that we have their backs. This is the House of Representatives. This is the closest. This is the closest body. The closest part of the legislative arm to the people. They're supposed to be representing the interests of the people, and then of course after them, then we have the Senate, and they make up the entire assembly.
Exactly.
Right? What do you think it ended up doing? The way he now started to sound like. Do you think it started to sound like he was trying to defend the government against the people, as opposed to the expectations of him representing the place where the people stand?
I think for me, what he was doing was to ensure that he has a very comprehensive speech or releases on the entire gamut of what is happening in Nigeria. But as the elite will always do, they will always dance to the rhythm of their side. What I mean by their side, they will always end up speaking for themselves and speaking for the constituency they really represent, which is the constituency of the political elite in Nigeria. So you don't expect any speech by politicians to end just concluding and putting the entire blame or whatever they may have caused on themselves. They will end up making a divide that will ensure that they speak volume for themselves, and as well as make a pitch or a part to draw in the attention of the masses into what they are saying. And this is what I mean. It started by talking about the challenges we have been facing. Everybody's facing challenges, security in Nigeria, the economic hardship. They now bring the issue of whereby in the process of the government trying to ensure that things work well, certain individuals now started using campaign calumny against a certain government official, which he felt was not right, because to them those are fake news and those are not expected of us in a polarized society that we are. So to him, was trying to remind us of what really happened in the campaign era, that we should forget the era of the campaign, that this is the time to work. But in the understanding of majority of Nigeria, they see it as, okay, is it because this guy helped you to become the speaker? Because if we check the role of Gbajabiamila in the entire Abbas becoming the speaker, you discover that it was a big role that he played in ensuring that Abbas emerged as the Speaker of the House of Reps. So,
well, that excuse him coming, putting together. It's a world press conference just to defend his pardon my use of the language, his godfather.
You may not call him his godfather. You may call him maybe he's a predecessor who wanted his stooge to be planted as Speaker of the National Assembly, and it worked. So now people are now coming against that person, although he's out of the house, but he's still very relevant to the seat of government. It's very relevant to the current government. So there is no way you can take that bully or that campaign on Gbajabiamila and you expect the likes of Abbas to just sit and be watching.
Now that's going to bring me to my next question. It's very baffling how we have this culture, pardon me to call it a culture, where the political class, the ruling class, would always see contrary opinions as an attack rather than constructive criticisms. How do we get them to realize that these are not attacks, these are basically just people? Where do we draw the line between attacks from opposition or from people that don't support your government and criticisms, constructive ones at that?
One thing about it's quite difficult to decipher constructive criticism when it comes to social media releasing news. I can tell you the truth. I'm part of that community, I'm part of that society, and I'm also part of the media. It's very, very difficult to find out and say this is a constructive criticism. Even when you want to make sure that you educate people that these are not to pass a particular message. Why don't you make it like this? They say no, don't do it like that. And the reason is because politicians are the ones that taught the masses how to bring out unconstructive criticism. I don't know whether I get it. It is the same politician that taught social media yellow journalists on social media and citizen journalists on how to bring out unconstructive criticism. Take for example what has happened to the Gbajabiamila they were talking about. It was as a result of different information that was released, and by the time you interrogate those information, you discover that they were fake news, fake documents released on social media, that when you interrogate it seriously, you discover that they were just fake. So on the other hand, it was the handwork of these same people that majority of Nigerians on social media are just copying. I don't know where they get it. During the time before APC came to power, what kind of propaganda were they using against the PDP then? All manner of fake news, all manner of fake documents, all manner of things. I even saw one today although just recently, that maybe you have seen the news, you have seen the document that they want to use 1 billion to do inauguration of when you look at that document thoroughly, you discover that it is fake. It is not coming from anybody. When you see a written memo from federal government SGF office to the president, it carries some features, some what we call in political science, we call them some features. I'm trying to get the language normally used in political science to describe document of government. It was not there on that particular, and a lot of people are sharing it. But when some people discover that this may not emanate from the president or from the SGF, they have to begin to turn down, take off those stories from their Twitter and the rest of them. So what I'm trying to point out, the same politician taught Nigerians of today on social media how to do breaking news which are fake. So it is now eating them back. So as he's eating them back, so how are they going to survive it than to come out and say what you guys are doing is wrong? But we should know that it was from them most Nigerians learned how to bring out unconstructive criticism, and it is working. It is working in the sense that most Nigerians are now understanding that if it is can be like this, then you two are doing the same thing. If you get what I'm trying to say, when they use it against PDP, then everybody accepted that it was true. Now they are now using it against them. Why won't Nigerians believe that it is true? So that's what is just happening.
So they are just a monster that is biting them back.
So they just want to correct the abnormality they use as an advantage against other political elites that are no more relevant in the calculation of the Nigerian political system. Now people are now using it against them. And how would they survive it?
Well, I'm wishing them the best of luck. Hopefully they are able to correct it, because at the end of the day, it's not about who wins. The only winning that should matter is that Nigeria is winning as a whole, because it's the country that is going to bits right now. Well, the last question I have on this before we move to our final and our top story for today is that this man is the number 4 person in the country.
Exactly.
He's the chief representative of the people. Basically, that's what his office is. Listening to him evade the real issues that are bedeviling the country, that is bedeviling the country at the moment, and focus more on defending his predecessor and making a whole, I would say, mess out of the situation, making the Nigerian people feel like, oh, you do not even represent us. It just goes to push the narrative that the political class, the ruling class, live in their own world. They live in a box.
Exactly.
They live outside of the realities of Nigeria. How do we redirect the focus of, right now, the House of Representatives to the point where leaders actually come in touch with the current realities that we're facing as a nation?
It's going to be very difficult, this dispensation, to draw their attention to the reality of what is Nigerians are facing. Although they are hearing it, they are seeing it, but for them to become part of it is going to be, or except when they are out of power. You can only be out of power in Nigeria to really feel the impact of negative government policy or nonchalant of government on certain issues. Now, is the speaker, he's going to be there for 4 years. If he's lucky, he's going to be there for 8 years. If he's lucky, he can even be there for 12 years. You get it. But once he's out of that position, he become ordinary Nigerians. He will start feeling the heat. I know you must have heard stories whereby people who were once upon a time in political position, their house became maker of a sort. Everybody is coming to their house to eat in the morning, eat in the afternoon. They are giving money to people. Just wait, let those guys be out of power. The house will be empty. Is that
not one of the problems that we have in the country? This going to eat at the houses of politicians. Because I tell you, this is no joke. Someone I know was just made commissioner in a state of one of the states. His house has become like a tourist attraction. Like people from the village, people from his family, is excited. The people that are the cousin to the auntie to the uncle to the everybody packing they are carrying their children and their wives. So they are moving into these houses. This is a culture that I believe, and you tell me if you agree with my belief. I believe this is a culture that is leading to some of the corruption that we have, that has eaten so deep into I'm marrying wife, my children's school fees, give me. How do we discourage this? Isn't this one of the problems that we have?
To discourage it starts with the person. I normally make a joke with my wife. I tell her that if they call me and say I should come and become a member of a particular committee for the government, you will not hear about it. And she will look at me and say, yeah, you will not even hear about it. I won't tell you. I don't know whether I get it. It starts with the person that person you mentioned when he became a commissioner. That ego come on you, and you begin to. I joke this with my wife seriously. I said, you won't hear about it that I'm a member of a particular committee. So this. I won't tell you. You won't hear. And if you hear about it, I will still be the ordinary husband that you have known. You won't see me with any paraphernalia of government coming close to you. And she was like, why? I said, that is the fact. Because the moment you hear, your friend will hear, your family will hear, my family will hear. This house that we are staying will never be, it won't be enough again. This community will hear, and before you know it, all eyes will be on you. So it starts with the person that has gotten that government opportunity or appointment. How is going to manage it? When that person become a commissioner, why did you tell the people it's opportunity to serve? This is what I'm collecting for salary. I cannot do if I collect this salary, it is not even enough for me and my family. Please help me. Tell tell them the condition of that service. And another thing is that when you get to into that office, don't let this civil servant confuse you, because a lot of people got that government appointment. Civil servant come with all manner of luxury. God, this is for you, and this letter. You quickly reject them one after the other. Become ordinary. But the problem is this: people that we appoint into government position are members of political parties whose political party expect them to bring returns to them. I don't know whether I get it.
And you know the funny thing, Adefolarin, is how you walk into you go to all these European countries, you go outside the country, and you see these same people leading ordinary lives. From the airports, they are dragging their bags, they are in their boarding trains like you.
The funny thing, nobody knows that this is a minister coming.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't know.
Absolutely not.
Because they don't make the noise around. But the issue is that our political culture have made this so luxury, so wide, so broadened to the point that the moment you have made a commissioner, then your village people that never recognized you before, they begin to come after you. I also share this with your friend. I said, if I get any political position for myself, award I'm not collecting. I will boldly put a signboard that
no award,
don't come, no groups visit. You know, the problem is that the moment I was passing through the ICC yesterday, and a particular person was made the 12th president of Abuja Chambers of Commerce and Industry. This unknown or not too popular person, though his son is senior advocate of Nigeria. Then I saw nuns and their entourage going to that man's inauguration. I was like, what is the connection between?
And you know the funny thing is, we shame these politicians when they don't give. Say, do you know that we went to visit this particular politician and they only gave us 100,000 naira to share, and we're 12. The person is very, very, very what's the word?
Very stingy.
Very stingy. So I think that we need to do better as a people before we can even point fingers at the political class and say, oh, this is what you're doing wrong.
Listen, it's because the person in position accepted that. If you have rejected it from the beginning, reject it. The moment they give you that appointment letter, do a press conference immediately. This is what the government is giving me as salary. This is what they are putting me in. Please and please, nobody should put any advertorial in the newspaper. No people from my village, my church, my mosque should come. I'm not here to serve village or ethnic group. I'm here to serve Nigeria. So, including, just put a coverage out there so that the people know that this man, no go here. Don't go to him. He will not give anything. He will not give shishi. That kind of thing. This person, he will reject you, including the media. I want to organize all manner. No, please allow the man to work. But when you accept those euphoria aspect of position of authority, I knew there was a particular DG that I knew that was. Anytime he is hosting a particular program in his office, this village will bring musician to come to come and sing. I don't know whether I get it. It happened across. They bring musician. It's like the musician now rented a house very close to the office. Anytime there's a conference, they'll just come and be playing music. So that kind of pressure will come. But if you accept it, at the end of the day, you know what that kind of thing brought? Most people that have been accused or alleged to have embezzled government fund is because of that pressure coming. What they have been paid is a minister collecting 950,000 naira, and then that's what he will use to eat. After he finish his service, they're giving 300% of that amount. Now that 950,000 is not enough for him. Now people are, all his village people, his church people, most people are writing letter, God support us. One NGO somewhere is saying, please support us. Where will he get the money to support them? He will put his hand in some things. He will go and get through those companies.
He has monies in his hand.
He will begin to increase the miscellaneous every day. Miscellaneous of not supposed to be more than 100,000, but a miscellaneous is getting up to 200, 500, 1 million, 3 million. That's why you say somebody used 2.5 billion to organize prayer, so that Boko Haram can be eliminated.
I mean, we do have a mental issue in this country. I don't mean like we're mentally sick, even though majority of the population I think are. But I mean, when I say I think we need a mental shift. That's what I'm saying. Well, let's move on to the story for today. So here's the scoop, right? The military high command just dropped a bombshell during a press briefing in Abuja. Major General Edward Buba, who has become quite popular in a good way among the people of Nigeria, he took the mic to declare that Nigeria is officially at war with its enemies. Yeah, you heard it right. So it's game on, right? He's calling for a massive show of support and unity from all of us as the country and as the armed forces go ahead and take up the fight against the bad guys.
Exactly.
Of course, insurgency and kidnapping and banditry and whatnot that we've been bedeviled with. Well, they've been hitting hard with Major General Buba reporting some serious wins. He says that they've taken out about 266 terrorists, nabbed 463 extremists, and they even freed 116 hostages. And get this, they've recovered tons of weapons and ammos as well. Well, here's the kicker. It's not just about the military doing their thing. Major General Buba made it very clear that we are all in this together. So whether you call it teamwork or squad goals, whatever it is you want to call it, he says it's time for us to rally behind the troops like never before and show love for the armed forces of Nigeria while they wage war against all the terrible things happening to us. Let's quickly hear from him.
He's pertinent to all citizens that because our security challenges are mostly self-inflicted, it is time to stop the bleeding in order for the healing process to commence. Just like our footballers are doing to make our nation proud in the ongoing AFCON, just like our musicians and artists are doing on the world stage, and just like our athletes are flying the country's flag high and with pride. It is not beyond us, with our resilient spirit, to quench the fire of violence across.
You know, as opposed to all the gaslighting that Nigerians have been bombarded with, I would say we're having, public office holders saying, okay, at this point, we all have a responsibility to play. And he's, saying we understand that it's bad, but we have to put our hands together. What are your general thoughts?
I think for me, we need to appreciate the military. We need to look at what the effort they are putting in to ensure that Nigeria is safe. Although we expect more from them, but from the data they are giving us on weekly basis, on monthly basis, it shows that something is going on. But we also demand that more accountability should be on their part, because the budgetary they are receiving is huge, so we expect more or triple of what they are doing to happen. What I mean is that in as much as they are receiving this kind of information that we arrest this, we are taking out this, we are neutralize this, we want triple of that to be happening, so that at every pocket of insecurity section across the country there is a quick response. Get it. Now, on the other aspect is this, which is quite interesting, which I found the military's speech from General Buba very, very sensitive, in a sense that we all want Nigerians to be peaceful. We won't leave the work for the military alone. We won't leave it for the police or the DSS alone. You see, yesterday we talked about suggesting community intelligence network, which is quite interesting, that we need to have, and that's what the military is calling. They are not saying that Nigerians should arm themselves, but they are saying that we need support, particularly intelligence support, to what we are doing, so that we can enhance the fight against the enemy of the state. Who are the enemies of the state? All the kidnappers of this world, all the bandits of this world, all the terrorist Boko Haram members of this world, all the, including economic sabotage. Economic sabotage are also enemy of the country. You get it? So we need to fight against all these people and eliminate them. US is peaceful, UK is peaceful, because the military, the government know what to do part time, and they are doing it rightly, but they cannot successfully do it without the support of their citizens. So I think that's what the military is trying to point that out. We need your support, and that support can only come through intelligence, not by self-help, because self-help by arming yourself against those enemy, it will not go a long way. But intelligence support, and for me, I think this right hand is military also create opportunity whereby, although they have what they call the civil military relationship, whereby they have allow people to relate with them, but we also need a military civil intelligence network, whereby the civilian can also provide necessary information and without being victimized, because the fear of people is that if you provide certain information for the military or the security agency, they may victimize you at the end of the day, because we have discovered that there is this conflict of opinions around what is happening in the country. Some people don't want this to end so that it can continue to oil their hands with resources they can benefit from, contracting, weaponry and the rest of them. But we also need to ensure that this also come to an end. US is the biggest spender on military weapon. They are in war outside America, although they are also contending the little criminal activity in their country, like gun running, school shooting, underage handling of arms, the rest of them. But they spend so much on defense. Nigeria is also spending so much on defense. What I'm trying to point out, we can spend more on defense, but we can use it to also enhance our security network without causing problem in our own society. And I think that's where this collaborative effort the military is calling for is coming into fruition. And I believe Nigerians just have to, particularly if we are going to take very serious the second stanzas of our national anthem that talk about being loyal, serving your country, and the third aspect of it, we talk about accountability and ensuring that things work well for Nigerians. I think what the military is saying is very appropriate at this time, but appropriate with accountability and transparency in ensuring that we get more results from what we are spending on military hardware and the rest.
Now, as beautiful as the speech sounds, as applaudable as it is for the military to be calling for collaboration with the citizens of the nation just to fight crime and whatnot, is it realistic, considering we have seen the way the military behaves? I mean, we've seen there was an entire protest. You know, the SARS process, the end SARS process was not just about SARS. We've seen military officials, the way that they treat civilians and what they call civilians, bloody civilians and whatnot. How realistic is this call for collaboration? How do we know that there is a change? How do we know that we can actually approach military people and, you know, relate with them without feeling intimidated by their uniforms? And
although it's not going to be that easy, because we still have some elements in the military that still see the civilians, bloody civilians, those ones that doesn't have that current orientation about civil military relationship. Although in the past, I think in the last 3 years, there has been serious engagement, training and retraining of how military can relate with the civilian population, and it's working. I think I've had engagement with several military guys and I've seen how you can relate with them. But the other angle is this, you know, because of the rigorous training some of them have passed through, and because of that suspicious move between criminal individuals and what the security guys need to do. If you understand what I'm trying to point out, is it, you can't trust the entire civil population, because the civil population harbor criminal people within themselves. That's why you see that EFC is finding it difficult to separate Yahoo boys from students who are normal, doing their normal whatever on social media or whatever. So it's very difficult, because this civilian population, that's where the criminal individuals are, and it's very difficult to determine the art of a man, because the art of a man, according to the good books, is harboring several things in it. So that brings to an issue whereby, how can we trust the military, and how can the military also trust the civil population? And that's where the dichotomy is. But I know with engagement, I'll go back to framework, because framework is very important. That means laws that will guide the relationship. We need to have that, and it will help us a lot to be able to gauge how we are relating and how we can have benefit, or what we call mutual benefit, from the relationship, whereby the civil population and the military population can work together, and this collaboration can transmitted policy that will change their life for the better. And what that means is that a good economy,
it's not just talk and no action, because we've seen a lot of that. It's going to take a lot to rebuild the trust Nigerians have in the government and the ruling class. Thank you very much, Adi Folarin.
Thanks for
for coming into the studio. Thank you. It's always a great discussion with you. And thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for keeping a date with us all through. This is the final episode for the week. It's a weekend. Okay, before I leave the studio, I'll just give you a quick wrap-up of some of the things we discussed. We discussed, of course, President Tinubu encouraging us to be patriots. And in as much as we like to poke holes and criticize it is very important for Nigerians to be patriotic. Wherever you run to, this is the only nation that we have. There is no other place that we can call home. We also spoke about the World Press Conference by the House of Representatives Speaker, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. And, you know, he made some very pretty good points. In as much as we have our problems with the ruling class, we owe it to ourselves to be careful with some of the statements that we put out there. Besides the fact that we need to speak up, you know, for the government to do what they need to do, there is an international community that we are selling a Nigeria to, whether we like it or not. We should be mindful of the things that we put on the internet. There is a thin line between cyberbullying and criticizing the government. And of course, finally, we did speak about the military saying Nigeria is at war and we have a role to play. If you see something, please say something. I'm going to leave you with the words of Joe Girard. The elevator to success is out of order. You need to take the steps one step at a time. And this goes to every single Nigerian out there, military, civilian, government official, regardless of what role you play. We owe it to ourselves to build a nation that we will be proud of. My name is Chinwe Blessing. Thank you for doing the show with us. Enjoy your weekend and don't do what I will not do. Good evening.